Have you ever felt like your brain is, I don't know, just running way too many hidden programs, even when you're trying to relax?
Oh, absolutely. Like you're trying to focus, but there's this little nagging feeling.
Exactly, like music playing from some browser tab you forgot you opened ages ago, or maybe, dozens of them, just silently eating up your mental energy. That constant buzz of unfinished business.
hmm That feeling is incredibly common.
Well, if that sounds familiar to you listening, you are definitely not alone. And here on the deep dive, we're going to get into why our minds seem to cling so tightly to those incomplete tasks.
Yeah, we're talking about a really core psychological thing here, the Zeigarnik Effect.
Right. And our mission today is to, well, unpack the science behind it, maybe touch on its pretty interesting origin story, and most importantly, give you some really practical ways to finally, close those mental tabs, free up your mind.
That's the goal. We've got two techniques we want to explore, the 5-minute ritual and the brain dump. And these aren't just like abstract concepts.
No, real strategies.
Yeah, concrete strategies to help cut down on stress, get some mental clarity back, and just feel a bit more in control.
Okay, so let's start right there. The Zeigarnik Effect. For anyone who maybe hasn't heard of it or just needs a quick refresher, what exactly is it? Why do our brains do this?
Well, put simply, it's this tendency our minds have to remember unfinished or interrupted stuff much, much more intensely than the things we've actually completed.
Okay.
But it's not just that you remember them, it's how this sort of subconscious nagging keeps pulling your attention back, draining your mental energy, even when you're trying to switch off, like a slow leak in your cognitive battery.
That makes total sense. I can definitely relate to that feeling, that pull. And I guess when it becomes chronic, the drain isn't just annoying anymore, right? It adds up.
Exactly right. When it's persistent, this cognitive stress, it really can contribute to bigger issues. We're talking burnout, anxiety, even chronic sleep problems. It stops being just a minor thing and starts impacting your well-being pretty significantly.
Which brings us back to that image you painted earlier, the overloaded browser mind. Your mind's trying to juggle all these open applications, all these unfinished tasks, and each one is using up valuable mental resources, even if you're not actively focused on it.
Precisely. And some of those threads, they can even get kind of stuck, like cognitive blockages. They're still there, consuming processing power in the background.
Yeah.
It's to see that music from the forgotten tab. Those unfinished thoughts are distractions.
Yeah.
You know that feeling when you open your browser intending to do one thing and then suddenly you're lost in this chaos of 50 other open windows?
Yes. All the time. That's exactly what it feels like in my head sometimes.
Well, that's the mental equivalent.
So where did this whole idea come from? You mentioned an interesting origin story.
Yeah, it's actually a great story. It goes back to the 1920s to a Russian psychologist named Bluma Zeigarnik.
Okay.
Apparently, she was just sitting in a busy cafe in Vienna watching the waiters. And she noticed something really specific. They had this almost photographic memory for orders from tables that hadn't paid yet. Complex orders, multiple people, everything. But the second the bill was settled,
Gone.
poof, vanished. As soon as the task was complete, the memory just seemed to evaporate.
Wow. Just from observing waiters.
That observation sparked it all. It led her to actually design a formal experiment. She gave people various tasks, but crucially, she interrupted some of them halfway through.
Ah, so she created the unfinished tasks deliberately.
Exactly. And the finding was pretty striking. People remembered those interrupted, unfinished tasks about 90% better than the ones they'd been allowed to complete.
90%, that's huge.
It really is. And her work, published back in 1927, I think the title translates to something like On the Retention of Completed and Uncompleted Actions, basically laid the groundwork for how we understand this stuff today.
And you can really see how relevant that is now, can't you? With everything constantly vying for our attention, emails pinging, notifications popping up, understanding this is maybe more critical than ever for, stress, productivity, mental health.
Absolutely. Because what the Zeigarnik Effect really highlights is something fundamental about how our brains work. This deep-seated need for closure. We don't like open loops.
We want to fill in the gaps.
Exactly. The brain hates incomplete information, unfinished situations. It's always trying to resolve things. And this creates a sort of low-level, persistent psychological tension when tasks are left hanging.
Like a background hum of anxiety or restlessness?
Precisely. And those open loops stay active in what psychologists call working memory, basically your mental RAM. They just sit there constantly consuming resources, making it harder to focus on whatever you're actually trying to do.
And that explains why it messes with sleep too, right? Your mind is still trying to process this stuff even when you're trying to rest.
It can significantly interfere with relaxation and sleep quality because the processing doesn't just shut down.
So connecting this to burnout, it's not like burnout just happens overnight.
Not at all. That's a really common misconception.
It's more like this slow buildup, this accumulation of all these unfinished tasks, these open mental cycles just piling up over time.
That's a much better way to think about it. It's a chronic mental backlog effect. Constantly managing all these loose ends exhausts our mental resources. Performance drops, problem-solving ability diminishes.
And then you get those classic burnout symptoms.
Right, that prolonged stress can lead to emotional detachment, cynicism, feeling ineffective. But here's the key insight, and it's really important. It's not just the sheer volume of work that burns us out. It's the number of open mental cycles we're juggling.
Okay, say more about that.
Well, think about it. A large amount of work, if it's well organized, if you have clear start and end points, can actually feel manageable, maybe even energizing. But a smaller amount of work that's just chaotic, full of unresolved things, constantly nagging at you, that's what truly exhausts us.
That feels so true. A clean desk, even with a big pile of work, feels way less stressful than just a few messy, half-done things scattered around. Okay, so if our brains are wired this way, always seeking closure, getting stuck, how do we fight back? How do we actually close these loops?
We have the practical stuff. That's what we need. And we have two techniques we think are really powerful here. The first one is what we call the 5-minute ritual for closing loops.
A 5-minute ritual, okay. Sounds manageable.
It is. The whole point is just to send a clear signal to your brain that it's okay to release the resources tied up in a task. And you do that by taking one small, concrete step.
Okay, so how does it work? Walk us through it. 5 minutes sounds almost too simple.
It's simple but effective. Step 1, identify. Pick one small thing that's been nagging you, an email you keep putting off, a decision that's hanging, maybe an awkward conversation you need to initiate, just one specific thing. Step 2, act. Set a timer for exactly 5 minutes. And in those 5 minutes, just take one concrete step forward. You don't have to finish it. Just advance it. Send a quick reply, make the phone call, jot down the pros and cons for the decision. Just do something.
Okay, physical action is key.
Yes. Step 3, decide. Now, chances are the task isn't fully done in 5 minutes. That's fine. The crucial part now is to make a clear decision about its next step. Don't just let it float again. Schedule a specific time to finish it. Delegate it if you can, or consciously decide to postpone it, but know when you'll revisit it.
So no more vague, I'll get to it later.
Exactly. Be specific. And finally, step 4, close. This is the mental part. You formally close the loop, maybe just by saying to yourself, okay, I've decided. I know what's next. This little cognitive ritual signals to your brain, you can let go of this for now, there's a plan. It shifts from that vague, I should, to a concrete, I have a plan.
That I have a plan does feel powerful. Okay, so for everyone listening right now, maybe just take a second. Think about, say, 3 things that are kind of floating around in your head, nagging you. Could be work stuff, personal stuff, anything. Now pick the one that feels the most persistent, the most annoying. And just imagine taking 5 minutes, right now or later today, to take one small action on it. What would that action be? How might that feel just knowing you've moved it forward and have a plan? That little bit of relief.
It can be surprisingly effective. And that leads nicely into our second technique, which is fantastic for clearing the decks, especially before bed. Externalizing mental loops through a brain dump.
Ah, the brain dump, yes. Right. This one's a personal favorite. It really does feel like hitting reset.
It totally does. And doing it in the evening, maybe 10 or 15 minutes before you plan to sleep, is often ideal.
Why then specifically?
Because that's often when all those unfinished thoughts start shouting the loudest, right? When things quiet down. And they're notorious for messing with sleep. So the goal here is complete externalization. You grab a notebook, a piece of paper, whatever, and you just write down everything.
Everything, like literally everything.
Everything that's swirling around. Tasks, ideas, worries, promises you made, shopping list items, that weird dream you had, get it all out. The key is no filtering, no organizing at this stage, just dump it all onto the page, raw and uncensored.
Okay, sounds messy, but cathartic. Then what? You've just got this chaotic list.
Right. Then comes the slightly more structured part, intentional indexing or categorization. You quickly sort through that dump list and put each item into one of 3 simple buckets.
Okay, what are the buckets?
1, to do tomorrow. These are concrete things you can actually tackle the next day. 2, to plan. These are bigger things or ideas that need more thought before they become actionable tasks. And 3, to abandon or delegate.
Ooh, that third one sounds important.
It's incredibly liberating. Stuff that honestly isn't worth your energy or that someone else could handle. Be ruthless here.
I like it. Abandon or delegate.
Then the final, crucial step.
Yeah.
The closing ritual. You physically close the notebook or put the list away somewhere out of sight. And as you do it, you have that affirmation. Okay, I've externalized everything. My mind can rest now. You're telling your brain it's captured. You don't need to keep juggling it internally anymore.
That physical act of closing it and putting it away seems key. Okay, so maybe for everyone listening, let's try a super quick version. Grab something to write on, or just do it mentally if you need to. Take, say, just 2 or 3 minutes right now. Rapid fire, list out everything buzzing in your head. Go.
Don't overthink it. Just get it down.
Okay, now quickly scan that list. Try sorting items into those 3 categories. To do tomorrow, to plan, to abandon, delegate. Just roughly, what does the balance look like? Are you trying to cram too much into tomorrow? Are there things you could just let go of? Now, look at your to-do tomorrow list. Pick maybe your top 1, 2, or 3 priorities. Could you assign a specific time or context for tackling them? Make them feel real.
You might be surprised how much lighter you feel just doing that quick exercise. The clarity it brings is pretty immediate.
Definitely. So as we start to wrap up here, let's just quickly recap the payoff for doing this stuff consistently. What are the real benefits of closing these mental loops?
Well, the big ones are pretty compelling. You're looking at genuinely reduced stress levels, for starters, better sleep quality, which is huge, increased mental clarity, sharper focus during the day.
And reclaiming that cognitive energy, right, for the things that actually matter.
Exactly. You get that bandwidth back for important work, for creativity, for relationships, for just relaxing properly.
And the key thing seems to be that it doesn't have to be some huge, time-consuming overhaul of your life.
Not at all. That's the beauty of it. Even just 5 or 10 minutes a day, consistently applying one of these techniques can lead to really profound long-term improvements in your mental well-being. It's about small, sustainable actions. Micro habits with macro results.
Love that. Micro habits with macro results. So, as you go about the rest of your day, here's a little something to think about, a question for you. What's one small change, one specific thing you'll commit to doing, maybe starting tomorrow, to close those mental cycles just a little more often?
Could be that 5-minute ritual on one nagging task each day. It could be the brain dump before bed.
Yeah, whatever it is, maybe actually write it down. Stick it somewhere you'll see it. A little reminder for a calmer, clearer mind.
And if you want to dive even deeper into this whole area, David Allen's book, Getting Things Done, it's sort of the classic text on managing tasks and mental clutter.
Oh, yeah. GTD, foundational stuff.
Absolutely. And then for tools, apps like Notion or Todoist can be great for digital organization. Or honestly, just a simple pen and paper journal works wonders too.
The tool isn't the magic bullet, is it?
Nope. The magic is in the consistent practice of capturing things and deciding what to do with them. It's about consciously closing those loops.